I wanted to talk to you about the process of approval. Purchasing and supply agency for the NHS, they're the big umbrella view of the NHS, under which you have the NHS supply chain, which is only 2 years old as an organisation. NHS, big business for all things, not just medical. They still need printing, they still need software, they still need furniture, they still need all sorts of different things. There is a whole process, and that was part of the email I sent you, on becoming an approved supplier for the NHS. And there are some advantages to becoming an approved supplier. Firstly, it won't cost you any money, it will cost you time and effort to become an approved supplier. And on the PASA website there is a supplier zone, and you go in there to register here. Now you need to know what information you need to put on that before you start, because it will take you 2.5 hours to do it. And part of the email I sent you was a list of all the information that they ask for, company information. The SID database, Supplier Information Database. Why be an approved supplier for PASA? Well, you need to be best placed when that NHS organisation, whether it's a foundation, trust, or a smaller PCT, or a group of PCTs, saying, okay, we've got this problem, we don't know who to call, let's have a look at the national supplier list, who is sitting there. Someone wants to relocate and they need a BAT survey. So where do they go? I don't know where to go for a BAT survey. So they need to go onto the national approved list. If you're on the approved list, you're sitting there ready and waiting. So to get that call, that can be from across the UK, although you can put in your NUTS codes there and say, I'm only interested in this and this location. The second thing is, once you have become an approved supplier, so you've put in your company information, it will take them 5 or 6 weeks sometimes to get back to you, because they will genuinely go through that and have a look at that. And if you are then approved to go on their list, you can use that NHS logo, and underneath it says National Approved Supplier. So even if you are not supplying the NHS at the moment, you have been approved by them to be a national approved supplier. Now what they clearly say on PASA is, we are not recommending these companies, we are not vetting them to an in-depth degree. They do financial vets. But the use of that logo and that system that you've put your company through to be best placed is very helpful to you when you're then going for a tender in the NHS. Yes, we don't supply the NHS, but we've already become an NHS approved supplier. We're familiar with your setup, we're becoming familiar with your needs. Incredibly powerful place to be. So you need to think about, yes, availability. The same goes for the MOD. Now at the moment, PJ is working for a client of ours on getting them into the MOD, and the process again is there, but slightly different, because every public sector organisation chooses things to do slightly different. PJ, can you just give a little oversight of what you're doing for this client?
Certainly, yeah. Yes, we've been doing a bit of research as to find out how a company can get involved in supplying for the MOD. There are two areas. First of all, you can actually subscribe, which is, you end up getting this, which is the Defence Contracts Bulletin Alert, which contains all the tenders in there. It is a subscription, but you can get sent that one. The other option is, which Wendy's touched on, is about becoming accredited as a supplier. Now, the way that you need to do that for the MOD is to basically contact them. They will send you a questionnaire. Now this questionnaire will contain information such as obviously the company, the annual turnover, number of employees, but also CVs of the employees who will be involved in the tendering process. There'll be other questions to complete. Once you send that off, it is then down to Capita, the MOD use Capita, to decide whether you can be on their accredited list, and that's it. So it's fairly straightforward, really.
So and then do you contact Capita?
No. Capita make the decision, but MOD, you've got there's www.contracts@mod.uk.
And there's all sorts of things on the table behind. We'll show you, and you can browse through these over coffee in a minute if you'd like to have a look.
And this information, the DCB, is from BIP Solutions, so you can contact them via email.